Top 5 upset alerts for Week 9. I did not get to do this one yesterday, so we held it because I had to go be a good husband. But yeah, yeah,
we're gonna meet after the show.
Yeah,
by the way.
no, that. Oh, yeah. Anyway, number 5, and this was tough to do upset alerts this week. BYU against Texas. They're on the road. The only reason I put this on the list is Texas has Malik Murphy starting, and if BYU can somehow get in his dome, then that's an upset chance for them. I do not think they can stop the run enough. With Jonathan Brooks being part of this, it makes the soft landing so much softer for Malik Murphy as he's stepping into an offense that's already got studs all over it. And so I don't know if BYU can stop him, but if they can somehow get Malik Murphy's head, then maybe this is an upset alert, and these will get progressively better as they go along. But this is a rough week to call upsets on. As a matter of fact, I would think most of the upsets you're going to see are going to be more like North Carolina or Virginia over North Carolina last week, where no one would see it coming.
Yeah, that was incredibly surprising to see the Cavs get that win. But, man, that's just we never really talked in depth about that. But that's just Mac Brown, right? Like just dropping a game like that when things are going so well. I know he's won a big title before, but, man, he could have had so many more if not for games like that happening on a regular basis. But, BYU had a great win last week over Texas Tech. Obviously, a lot of turnovers played into that. But it didn't do a whole lot to change my mind that they're okay on defense, to good at times, and I'm just still not a fan of what they can do offensively with regularity. So I have a hard time seeing how they're going to run the football, and I don't love the idea of Keaton Slovis having to sling it around to get you to win a game, right? Much less that's just the offensive side of it. Oh, yeah, then what do you do on defense? But I think you're right. Like, defense is where you probably can win this game because of the quarterback situation, so long as you do force him into some mistakes or he makes some mistakes and you're able to capitalize on those. This one, it didn't change my feel for it. Like I just banked on Texas winning this game, so the quarterback change didn't change my mind really in the slightest. I think Texas is still 17.5-point favorites in this game, and I do think that they'll win. But the Malik Murphy wild card here and just the unknown about him does make it interesting because, there could be those first start jitters and, the things just kind of slide sideways, and it's one of those Saturdays. But, it's a possibility.
Yeah, you 17.5 points. They're so explosive, and you wonder what it would be if Malik Murphy wasn't starting the quarterback. And I think he's a fantastic young prospect.
And in many regards, Malik Murphy's auditioning for a lot of different things. He's auditioning to be the starting quarterback when Quinn Ewers leaves over Arch Manning. And if that's not going to be the case, if Arch Manning eventually beats him out, then he was auditioning to be the starting quarterback somewhere else. So
he's getting NIL offers based on his audition.
Yeah, and then you'll get the argument, well, no, this is all a plan in place. Everybody has a price, even though at Texas they can pretty much meet most of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's just fans.
That's also playing time issue.
Yeah, that's a lot of different things. But point being, if he plays well, there will be, and even if he doesn't, there will be people who are in his DMs already because quarterbacks are such a craving for teams out there that, he's going to be a guy that if he goes out and performs, whatever he's already probably been talked to about or people have inferred could skyrocket in a major way. Yeah.
Number 4, Utah versus Oregon. This one, again, really, the only reason it's an upset is that, Utah doesn't have Bo Nix, but it would not surprise me. It shouldn't surprise anybody. What?
You mean Cam Rising?
No, I mean, Bo Nix is the difference in this game to me. And
Utah doesn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix is the difference in this game to me in that Utah, very well, if they had if Cam Rising was playing, I wouldn't even have put this game on the list at all. But, Barnes is going to have to go in there and create some magic again, and he's not going to be going against a defense that is a turnstile like USC's is, but it is Utah, and they've managed to do weird stuff all year. So let's see it again. Let's get weird, Utah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a team, I'm not going to put it past them to win a game where they're not favored. It's Utah. I think that program's just so tremendous that you give them a chance anytime they go out there. They're less than touchdown dogs. So what does that tell you? And at home, there's also that element to this as well. So, there is definitely some ingredients involved here. Just the performance last week and the big win and all the confidence in Bryson Barnes now, something's going to have to give against these defenses as far as the running game goes, unless it's just going to be a shootout with a bunch of big plays, which I guess is possible. But both these teams going up against defenses that are pretty stingy against the run. And in Utah's case, that's been a little bit of a bugaboo for them is trying to get that going. So, yeah, I mean, it's Utah. So gloves off, and yeah, certainly a possibility they could pull the upset here.
Number 3, Colorado versus UCLA. Look, UCLA is played better than Colorado the whole of the season, really. But Colorado has still got Shadur Sanders. They still can score a bunch. They're going to be a problem for any defense that they play. And while UCLA's defense is pretty good, Colorado's just going to be a problem. Now, if they're the Colorado we've seen after the first 3 weeks, then yeah, I mean, UCLA is probably going to win this game, but again, I don't put anything past this Buffalo team and with the amount of points that they can score if they get on a heater.
Yeah, I mean, they've had time to prepare, right? They've had what seems like a long break. It's only been a weekend. It seems like they haven't played in like a month, I guess, because
that Friday game.
Yeah, but because we just heard so much about them, though, that like they haven't played, and so it's just like, oh yeah, Colorado, that's a story still. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by how they play. UCLA had great success with the quarterback change. Dante Moore is a good young prospect, but they decided that just too many mistakes, and they go with Garbers, and that worked out well for them last week. So, that'll be obviously a big part of this is that quarterback battle, Garbers versus Shadur, and who can have the better game. But UCLA's a good team, man, and I think that they're the favorites for a reason here. But Colorado, they have enough playmakers, and we've seen them how they can score points. The defense is obviously but they can score enough most of the time. Now, can they score on this UCLA defense at will like they have against some others? That'll be the big curious part of this, but they got to be able to get stops on defense themselves, and that's been a big issue for them.
You wonder how much they've been able to tighten things up with the week off, and how much they could change in a week, but perhaps they get enough done.
What's the line on that game? Do y'all know off the top of your head?
I'm going to guess it's 13.
Let me see here.
I'm just going to guess. It's higher than I thought.
UCLA at 17-point favorites.
Okay.
So there you go.
So,
and by the way, that's one of the games in our pick'em. That's the TexasBeefHouse.com pick'em. That's one of the games in that group.
Number 2, Georgia versus Florida, the cocktail party in Jacksonville. And the only reason I say this is that if you watch the Gators and what they've done this year, Chuck Cooperstein talked about it earlier in the week on the show, that on the field he's not thrilled with the product that Billy Napier has put out there. But I do think that Billy Napier, and he's trying to, like you say, he's probably trying to do too much. But if you look at their offense, it is like to call it vanilla would be a compliment. But that's what they kind of have to do because they have 2 really good playmakers in Ricky Pearsall and Trevor Etienne. But Graham Mertz is a bus driver, and he's not Keanu Reeves or Sandra Bullock driving the bus. He is a school bus driver, and they've done well with that. Defensively, they're pretty solid, but again, there's nothing like about most of their defense that's going to be like, holy crap, look who's coming around the edge like there will be on Georgia. But this is a huge rivalry game. He'll have them playing, I think, within themselves pretty well. And Georgia's just, they've played fast and loose with things, and Brock Bowers not going to be there for another week. Could make this interesting. I don't think it'll happen. Georgia's a massive favorite. But, crazier things have happened and when it comes to huge rivalry games like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long-standing rivalry, so those things can always get kind of wonky. Even though Georgia's shown a little bit of flaws here and there, it's still just like they just keep on moving on, right? It's like when is that day going to come where they finally drop a game? Because they're on a hell of a run right now. But yeah, I mean, this is one to definitely pay attention to, one of the bigger games of the entire weekend, and just some bad blood here. So, Billy Napier's got some good things going on. Is it enough in the end? Obviously, most people don't think so. That's why Georgia's still, over 2 touchdown favorites. But yeah, who the heck knows, man? It could get wild out in Jacksonville, Florida for the world's largest cocktail party. So sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And number 1, Oregon State versus Arizona. If you're playing Noah Fafita and this Wildcat team, you're on upset alert because he can get hot They have turned around. Jed Fish really has found his. Looks like he's starting to find his sea legs there as they get ready to come into the Big 12. They're going to get somebody else, and Oregon State standing in their way this week, as well as they've played. But if I'm Oregon State, I am absolutely on the highest of alerts for an upset this week because Arizona's been playing really well.
Yeah, they've been much better. Moving on from Jaden Delora, Fafita's given them something there at the quarterback spot. Oregon State's just so stingy on defense, and that has been part of their calling card. I'd still like Oregon State, but yeah, Arizona's been feisty enough that you got to pay attention. And the way they just whooped on Washington State was surprising. I mean, just how lopsided that game was. So big opportunity for Jed Fish. I mean, a top 10-ish type of a win would be absolutely massive for that program. You're at home. So that's part of, I think, Oregon State's identity too, is when they're at home especially, it's just like, man, it's like almost impossible, right? Or it feels that way. So yeah, the fact that this game's in Tucson, we going to talk to our buddy Jason? Have you reached out to him at all?
Yeah, no.
We're about due to talk Arizona, I think. But
no, if he can't help us with realignment, screw him. No, Paul, you brought that up in a text.
He did help for a good long while.
I think he ended up being the guy that made it all happen.
Yeah, exactly.
If we can if there's an opening tomorrow, that's a great get. I'll try to talk to him.
Yeah, no, it's just been a long time since we spoke, and they still got. Let's see, UCLA coming up, Colorado, Utah. So there's some other games out there for them as well, and then Arizona State at the end of the year. But, yeah, like what Jed Fish has going on, like what Oregon State's got going on a lot more. But, yeah, they definitely need to have their antennas up against these Wildcats.
I love the story.